Okay, let's look at a couple common problems from the review. Now, this equate or form, I should say, is something you're going to use a lot in this section is y equals mx plus b, where m is going to be the slope, b is going to be the y-intercept. So if we look at a problem from the review, so what does this problem say? Find the slope and y-intercept of the line. Well, this is pretty straightforward. So m here is 3. B is going to be negative 15. And the reason being is because in the form y equals mx plus b, b is positive. Here it's negative, so we have to include the negative. So the slope is simply 3. The y-intercept is negative 15. Be careful of the directions. Sometimes they want a coordinate there. And we're good. And what else is in here? So remember, positive slope goes up and to the right, negative slope goes down to the right. So here's a positive slope. All right. Let me go back. Yeah, well, this is the same problem. This is very common. Find the slope of the line passing through the given points. State whether it's increasing, decreasing, horizontal, or vertical. So we have these 2 points here. We have an easy formula to use here. We just have to be really careful with the negatives. Negative 2 comma negative 2 and negative 9 comma negative 8. Let's look at that. So the formula for this is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We have x's and we have y's. Now the thing with the 1s and the 2s is you can actually reverse these and get the same answer. I'll designate this to be point 1 and this to be point 2. So if I plug in, y2 is negative 8 minus, now this minus is built into the formula, minus y1, which is negative 2. x2 is negative 9 minus another negative 2 for x1. Now if we clean up the signs a little bit, subtracting a negative is like plus, so that's negative 8 plus 2 over negative 9 plus 2, which is negative 6 over negative 7. Now, negative divided by negative is positive, so this turns into 6/7. Let's go back to the problem. So the slope is, let's make a fraction, positive 6/7. Because it's positive, the line is increasing. Okay. This is the same kind of problem. So here, we're finding the slope from a graph. We're going to use the same definition of slope, rise over run. So what we're going to do is go from here to any other point on the line. So let me use this point right here and this point right here. Now I chose those because they intersect the grids perfectly. So if I go from -5 to +3, that's a rise of 8. If you want, count the boxes. You'll count up 8 boxes to get to here. The run from 0 to 6 is 6. So it's 8/6. Now, the directions say type a simplified fraction. If we have 8/6, if I divide both of those by 2, I get 4/3. Make it a fraction, 4/3. All right. Okay, now these other problems on writing an equation. Nearly every single time you're going to use this formula. This is the point-slope form of an equation. The point is x1, y1. This is just any point in the line. And m represents the slope. So if we know those things, we can write an equation. Let's look at this problem. We have the points 2, 8 and 5, 3. They want us to find the slope and then write the point-slope form of the problem. So just like we did before, find the slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 3 minus 8 over 5 minus 2. Negative 5 over 3. Let's check that. Negative 5 over 3. Okay, point-slope form. This point-slope form is rather kind of messy. What we do is plug all the information in. We now have the slope, which goes here. For x1 and y1, you can use either point. It doesn't matter. Let me use the second one. Y minus, y1 is 3, equals negative 5 over 3 times x minus 5. Now, because the problem said point-slope form, that's it. Just put your pen down. We're done with the problem. Y minus 3 equals fraction negative 5 over 3 parentheses x minus 5. Let's try that out. It's not liking something here. Something's not right here. Point-slope form. Move this negative here. That was interesting. Okay. What else? This one will be pretty similar, but it's actually easier because they already gave you the slope. Same thing with this one. Now let's do this graphing example. The slope here is obviously 2. The y-intercept is negative 6, but just watch the directions. Make sure you put it in an ordered pair, 0, comma, negative 6. And now we graph. Let's go to the paper for just a moment. Y equals 2x minus 6. Now the slope is 2. I can make that into a ratio by just saying 2 over 1. Slope is rise over run. Rise 2, run 1. Which means we go up 2 spaces, rise. Run means go 1 to the right. Rise is y direction, run is x direction. So if we go back to the problem, go to the line tool and start with the y-intercept, negative 6. The slope tells us which way to go. 2 over 1 means go up 2 and to the right 1. So I go up 2 spaces and to the right 1 space. And that is the line of this equation. find another graphing problem. This one will work the same way except it's negative, so it'll go down. Now this one's interesting. Y equals -2. Now this equation is in slope-intercept format, but notice there's no x. Pretend that's 0x minus 2. mx plus b, which means the slope is 0, which is fine, and the y-intercept is -2. So the slope is, let's go back to the problem, 0. The y-intercept is coordinate 0, -2. To graph it, well, it's actually a very boring line. We go to 0, -2. If the slope is 0, it's a flat line. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, it just goes flat, straight across. Now, this is tricky. This is the kind of equation that confuses most students. What else? Yeah, let's try this one. 4y is 3x minus 20. Now we have to do a little prep work before we can graph this. This is not in the right format. We want y equals mx plus b format, which means we want just y by itself. Now we're close, but in order to get y by itself, I have to get rid of this 4. This is multiplication, so we use division. Divide everything by 4. Y equals 3/4 x minus 20 divided by 4 is 5. Now this is in the proper format. The slope is 3/4. The y-intercept is -5. Using the slope, rise over run, go up 3, move to the right 4. So if I go back to the question, the slope is 3/4. The y-intercept is 0, -5. So to graph that, I go to -5 using the line tool, rise 3, run 4, up 3, right 4. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. Save. And there we go.